our source of guidance. As always, we pray in your name.
Amen. We face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Starting off with the public comments,
Tonight we have the Department of Finance, Police Department, Municipal Court, Fire Department, and Department of Utilities. Every director from those departments are here available should you have any questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Willingham, what's been the delay on this mural?
Excuse me?
What has been the delay on the mural?
In meeting with city manager, the only delay has been, we were looking at the whole complex as a complete complex and seeing what upgrades, expansions, if any, were going to take place. And it was just, I was asked to just hold off on any improvements until we finalize everything, and then we can move forward.
You know, when the commission approves something, I don't think so we need to wait for somebody else to give directions. The commission approved this mural, and I expect people to oblige what the commission is requesting and approving. You know, there's no excuse why we have waited more than 1 year. I think so we're waiting to make decisions on that complex, you know. And I want to tell you one thing, if you're going to be in charge of making decisions in that complex, I want to see that mural there and you work around it. That's what I feel.
Well, the direction, for your information, the direction came from Mr. Arjona. I had instructed him for the simple reason that we never said that that mural wasn't going to be completed. No one on this commission mentioned that, Mr. Willingham, nobody. The deal here is that since we were working an interlocal with the school district, out of courtesy, we were going to ask them if they're okay with it. We didn't want them to come back and say, you know what, remove it. More than had a feeling that they were going to be fine with it, but that's all it was.
That way we got to take 1.5 years. Mr. Argona, what decision do you have as one person when a commission gives you an order and it's voted here to take action? I expect to take action. Not one person comes and puts a hold on something when the commission has already agreed to push this item forward. Now, if the school district does not agree with the mural, then they have a problem, not the city. You know, we have an obligation to the commission. Once the commission approves it, that means that all the commission voted to put it in there. Not one single person has the right to stop a project like that. That's my way of feeling about it.
We weren't going to stop the project, Mr. Garcia. No one said that.
It's been stopped for 1.5 years.
No one said that. No one here, for the record, said that that project was going to be stopped. Nobody.
It's been stopped. It hasn't moved forward.
But no one said it was going to be stopped.
Well, why hasn't it been done?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And just to echo what Mr. Willingham said, he was given a directive to stop work on it.
Not actually to stop, it was to hold off on it.
It was a hold.
It was so that.
There's a difference.
Okay, when you hold off on something, that means it's not moving forward. Correct?
When you hold off on something that moves.
It's not moving forward. So if it's stopped, it's not moving forward.
So
Regardless of the verbiage, it's not moving forward.
So the item was approved. If you want to stop it and change something, you might have rescinded and then change it if you want to.
Well,
But
actually,
this item was never rescinded.
actually, going back to rescinding that issue, I mean, here on the agenda, you added the sport complex,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You're
because
talking about the sports complex.
the sport complex, because when I talked about the mural to Mr. Argona, he said that we had already approved it. And I said, no, we did not approve it. And then he said, no, we did. And I said, well, if we did, put it in the agenda so we can ratify it. And we can make sure that we rescind it and make sure that we keep the complex there.
In reference to the sports complex?
Well, if the mural is in the sport complex, we're talking about the mural that's in there.
No, that's two different things,
No,
sir.
no, sir.
No.
We're talking
Yeah.
about the mural in the sport complex. And if you're planning on the sport complex,
Well, when you're talking
that mural
about the,
sits there.
when you're talking about the
And I
mural,
put
you
it-
should
And I
state,
put it for discussion, so we'll get to that item and discuss it. Even though that we don't make an adjustment on it, we have the right to discuss it. That's why it's there as discussion and maybe action. But since that item has not taken action to approve it, we can discuss it when we get to that item. Or am I wrong, Counsel?
Well, actually, I was wondering, I know that we have had a lot of discussion. I'm okay the fact that we've discussed it here, but I know that in our departmental reports, I don't think we have listed Parks and Rec at this time. However, I know that we're talking about, it seems like some of the questions and the comments that are coming today are particularly regarding item D, which it says an action, discussion and action to rescind a commission action regarding the expansion of the San Juan Sports Complex, and I'm assuming that this mural is on the complex, I'm not sure.
On the complex.
And I'm not sure, so I'm comfortable with the fact that this discussion has taken place, but would probably add that we probably should, if we need to elaborate any more on this, that we can.
Wait for that item.
Wait till that item, if we can.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Arjona.
Question? No. The next one is on the proclamation recognizing October 23rd to the 31st, 2018 as National Red Ribbon Week in San Juan, Texas. We have before you, let me share this with you, sir. Before you, you have that Red Ribbon Week. This is, and I'm going to read the proclamation real quick here. It says, cities across America have been plagued by the numerous problems associated with alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use, and where there is hope in winning the war on drugs, and the hope lies in the hard work and determination of our communities to create a drug-free environment. And whereas local leaders in government and the community know that the support of the people in their neighborhoods is the most effective tool they can have in their efforts to reduce use of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs by Texans, and success will not occur overnight. Our patience and continued commitment to drug education and prevention are imperative. And whereas the Red Ribbon was chosen as a symbol commemorating the work of Enrique Kiki Camarena, a drug enforcement administration agent who was murdered in the line of duty and has come to represent the belief that one person can make a difference, and whereas the Red Ribbon campaign was established by Congress in '88 to promote this belief and encourage a drug-free lifestyle and involvement in drug prevention efforts. And October 23rd, 23 to the 31st, October 2018 has been designated National Red Ribbon Week, calling on all Americans to show their support for a drug-free state by wearing red ribbon and participating in drug-free activities during that week. Whereas the Red Ribbon Initiative will be observed year-round, presenting a unified and visible commitment of our intolerance towards the use of drugs and calling all citizens of Far San Juan Alamo to participate in the year-round drug-free activities. Now, therefore, Diana Martinez, Mayor of the City of Alamo, Mario Garza, Mayor of the City of San Juan, Ambrosio Amos Hernandez, Mayor of the City of FAR, Texas, Ronaldo Ronnie Cantu, President of the PSJ ISD School Board, and Rio Grande Valley Council Incorporated, by the virtue of the authority vested in them and on behalf of the City Commissions of PSJ and Alamo, the PSJ ISD, Behavioral Health Solutions of South Texas do hereby proclaim the 23rd, 31st day of October 2018 as Red Ribbon Week. It's a presentation on that,
Proclamation, okay.
proclaiming the 23rd to the 31st to be Red Ribbon Week.
Okay.
Next item, under public hearing and ordinances, is to hold a second and final public hearing and consider the ordinance adopting the budget for the City of San Juan, Texas for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2019. Mr., where is he? Leroy?
Good evening, Mayor, Commission.
Good evening, sir.
I have included the budget highlights for the fiscal year 2018-19. Maybe you have any questions?
Under public hearing, right? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up at 7:01 PM. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against?
Director Ramirez. Again, I came to the first public hearing from our last special call meeting. I'm still against it only for the simple reason that no actual numbers or an actual packet was presented as previous years before, only 13 pages, only the highlights. And several of the items listed as some ranging from 10,000 up to 100,000 weren't specifically broken down into what that item was going to go to or for. For an example, one of the city manager's item was over 30,000. It just mentioned media, no breakdown as far as details as to what it would cover or if it included a person that would be hired to do that job. Again, here we're present. There's no numbers up there for the public to see what is the budget and what specific items would be have embraced. So again, for that simple reason, seeing that years before we have actually been able to see, even the public on the website, it had been posted. For that simple reason, I'm against it, and hopefully for next year it'd be better so that the public can know what we're spending the money in. Thank you.
Anyone else for or against? For or against? Any questions, member of the commission?
Yes, if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
Leroy, on page 6, we have the special events, and I was noticing Noche de Paz doesn't fall under that special events category? Or? Yeah, on the book. You have on special events, employee Christmas event, Thanksgiving event.
Oh, no, sir.
So that one doesn't fall under?
No, it falls under hotel motel.
Oh, okay, all right. On page 18, Leroy. I believe it's under planning and zoning. Yeah, planning and zoning, on page 18. I was looking at last year's book, okay? And according to the book, according to the numbers, we approved $12,000 for engineering and architectural services. Okay? Yet on the numbers that you provided for us this year, it shows 22?
22, that's correct. There was some budget adjustments along the way.
And they came through the commission, we approved it.
If it's a budget adjustment, line item to any other, it does not go to the
It
commission.
doesn't come to us.
If it's amended, the budget, then it will come into the commission.
Okay, all right. Is there any way for you to, in this documentation, to show us, like in future reports, that that's happening? Because I'm looking back, and of course it raises a flag for me, saying that we approved 12, and now it's 22. So I'm wondering where and why.
Why the jump?
You know what I'm saying?
Commissioner, what we
Yes.
can do is
Uh-huh.
bring it before you all as a report
Right,
on all the budget adjustments, if you like to do it that way.
okay. And I'm sorry, I should have, before we moved on to page 17 or 18, on going back to what Mr. Ramirez mentioned, on the media, I know there's 30,000 there. Are we hiring somebody in-house, or are we going off for RFQs, or how is that going to work?
This was the new consultants that we hired this fiscal year.
Uh-huh.
These are the ones that we hired for media,
Okay, we hired them, it came to the commission? It didn't come to the commission. So that one didn't need to come, we didn't have to require RFQs or anything? We just hire whoever? Okay. And for the project manager, how is that gonna work? 60,000?
I'm sorry?
For the project manager, you're requesting 60,000 under your budget?
Yes, sir.
And
That
how
is-
is that gonna work? Okay,
That one, it's in a reimbursement process.
uh-huh,
However, we cannot put this in a reimbursement yet because we don't have the monies yet.
Okay.
They're earmarked, committed, but once we get them, we'll do the amendments, and we'll bring them before. Now, this is a professional service, and this is the reason why it doesn't really need a commission action.
hire whoever you want.
Wasn't the project manager approved by the commission?
No, it didn't come, it was approved by the commission, but not necessarily per se the actual person that was approved.
Oh, okay. All right. just to clarify that. That's-
The other one on page 44, under Parks and Rec, you have debt service of 35,000 and loan interest of 22,000.
That's for the lighting at the park,
The lighting at the park?
yes. That's gonna be our first payment.
Okay. Does it show that? Maybe I missed it, but I didn't.
No, I just, on the highlights, I just basically put the, outlay items.
On page 53, I believe it's also for Parks and Rec, travel and something, going from 4,000 to 17,000?
53?
53? Travel? Travel and training?
Yes, sir. It was, I believe on this one, they also made budget adjustments along the way. That's why it's hard.
Do you know what the travel was for?
No, to,
No? Yeah, because that's a big.
Check further.
That's a big difference. $13,000 that was spent and.
that maybe,
Commission, those adjustments were made so that we had a team go to Louisiana, team go to Houston,
Okay.
and we had over 50 athletes attend the games at Texas and College Station. So we moved monies into the travel to cover hotels and meals and all those expenses associated with the travel.
Was that part of the, they went to Texas
Yes,
A&M?
yes. Those were the games at Texas.
On page 71, I know you have now animal control. Who are they falling under?
they're gonna fall under the
268.
the police department.
They're gonna fall under the police department.
Yes.
But we're showing their own.
Yes, we moved them from the,
Again, my concern has always been that we've been waiting for the comprehensive plan to kind of guide us as to what their job entails and what their pay is. And so I don't think that those reclassifications should take place at this time because, and one, the comprehensive study, we're waiting for it. I believe that we waited too long. I believe that once we do get that report, with the information that they might have gathered this past year, it's going to be outdated. It's not going to be up to date. My opinion is that the reclassifications should have waited until that report is finalized, because we are giving several big raises there, and I think it should have waited. My opinion. That's all I have.
Where are we at on that study? Do you know by any chance?
I don't know, Ms. Collado.
We had a delay. Some of it was for the job description questionnaires, and the delay now has been that the person that was doing it was diagnosed with a medical condition,
Okay.
so they've assigned somebody else.
Someone else.
Assigned somebody else, but somebody's already on board. As a matter of fact, they're starting with it. Betty Lynn has already found somebody to take over within, her firm and stuff to be able to take over with that project.
They're already moving on it?
Yes.
Okay.
How long has
And
this,
then-
this comprehensive been in place? When did it start?
Gosh, we started some time ago. What has taken long has been the information from the departments regarding the job descriptions. That's what's taken a while. So according to an email that I just got from the lady that's now taking over, it's already going out to the cities, because the cities are going to be surveyed based on our job titles and our salaries. So it's already back on the road again. It's just been some delays.
When you mean a while, Mr. Ojona, can you answer me that? How long has it been in progress, this comprehensive plan?
It started, I want to say 6, maybe 7, 8 months ago. Yes, but however, one of the things that is not that it's taken a while is that when we put all the job descriptions together, we had to make some changes as to what the position was actually calling for. It was not a job description that was, we had some job descriptions there that were over 10 years old, so we had to go in and redo them. So after we collected all of that information, we sent them over to the consultant, and the consultant now is making some changes as well because of whatever calls for the current market. So we've been going back and forth until they actually said, you know what, this is the final, I guess, final draft per se. And now what they're doing is they're doing the survey amongst the other cities, the size of our, you know, the size of our city. So that's what typically takes the longest. But it's been about 7, 8 months, and we learned about this lady that was critically ill a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. But prior to that, we were not notified that until we actually called the consultant, and that's when they notified us that they were not working on it because of that. I know that then after that, shortly after that, the lady contacted somebody else. They sent her their resume. We looked at it. It's somebody that has a lot of experience in the HR business. Now they're working on it.
This consultant was hired sometime more than 6 months ago.
Yes, you're right.
It's been more than a year, probably close to 2 years, when the consultant was hired and then got started.
And that's what I was gonna ask, was it a delay on our part? Because I know that we approved this when San Juanita Sanchez was mayor. It came before us, we approved it. And so it's been a while. And my other question is, as far as the contract itself, there is a contract, I'm assuming. And was there a delivery date? Like they had to have something by a certain date?
We have phases, and there was a delivery. We were obviously aiming for this before the budget. That's what we were doing. That's what we were hoping for. And the last communication they had from the new person that's taking over this phase, which is the job description questionnaires, to be able to, you know, compare with other cities, the rates and things like that, they're hoping by November.
That information, okay.
I'm sorry?
That information, you're saying completed in November?
The compensation and the job descriptions, yes.
Which
Because
we will
remember, we
use
also
for the
have the-
following,
I'm sorry?
that information is what we're gonna use the following budget cycle.
Well, the hopes was for this.
Right, exactly, that's what I'm
budget
saying.
cycle.
So actually, it'll be historical, that information that we're gonna get. So we're gonna pay X amount for this contract for historical stuff that we're gonna use for the next year. And obviously, everything changes in a year, in a couple of months, or even days at times. So we're gonna go based on historical information from the past. So it looks like if we put it into play, we're gonna be outdated once we implement it the following year, or the board that's in place.
Current from of what they're providing. It's obviously going to be current. As far as the surrounding cities that the commission approved, it's going to be current as far as the pay and things like that. In essence, right now, most of the cities are going through their budget. So I think the pay is what's going to be the most
I
current.
guess the biggest concern that I have is and I know they said that it was been in place since 2015, you heard? So we're using, in phases, and those phases are already gone, so we're using information for the past, 2018, from 3 years. Is that information even valid to use it for the following year? I don't know. I'm trying to follow this. Looks like we're gonna use, it's like you buying a brand-new car, but you know what? I want a brand-new car, but you know what? I want to buy a 3-year-old car. Well, obviously, it's the outdated, right? You don't have the Bluetooth versus, so I think that we have a serious disconnection on that. And see, maybe, I don't know if I'm out of line on this, Council, as far as what we're discussing?
No,
Okay,
no,
And-
it's related to the budget.
okay. Yeah, and I think the city really needs this real-time information as we're going on, and I think we need to actually evaluate that study. That's what I believe, so.
I mean, I understand that, I mean, within 1 year, I don't think that'd be too much changes, but we're talking about almost 3 years. It's gonna change.
Anything else? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and close this at 7:16 PM. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
One against, for the record.
The next item on the construction resolutions is the discussion and possible action authorizing city manager to enter into an agreement for the purchase of unleaded plus and diesel highway fuel. We have, we went out for bids on this. I don't know when was the last time that we had went out for bids on this type of fuel services. We felt that it was time to, go out and explore the market. However, when we went out for bids, there was only one bidder that submitted a bid, and that's the one before you, Mr. Rene.
Mayor and Commissioners, good evening.
Sure.
Bid number 18730914 for the purchase of unleaded plus and diesel highway fuel was advertised in the Advanced News Journal on August 29th and September 5th of this year. As the city manager said, we only had one response, is from the vendor that we're currently using with Gold Star Petroleum. My understanding is we haven't had complaints from their service. They also are providing the tanks that we need to store the fuel. And my understanding from the interim director is that their prices are in line with what the market is experiencing.
Any questions for Mr. Hyman? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
The next item, consider resolution in support of strengthening the Texas Trauma Network. With us, we have Mr. Mario Liscano from DHR that will come before us and then tell us about that resolution.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners. My name is Mario Liscano. I'm the Administrator of Corporate Affairs for DHR Health. Today, in front of you, I am presenting a resolution for your review and hopeful approval of. As you all well know, we are working in hard and strides with our healthcare community. Trauma level 1 is needed in this area. The American College of Surgeons states that it is a requirement that we have a trauma level when you have over 1 million people in your MSA. At this point, we're at about 1.4 million, and we don't have a trauma level center. Just in comparison to the Houston, where you have the Woodlands, Sugar Land area, they have 4 trauma level centers with the same amount of MSA that we have here in this area. This consideration is going to allow us to make sure that we have the appropriate health care that we do need, but that we deserve in this area. We're working diligently with all our surrounding cities, our counties, as well as the University of Texas RGV to ensure that we have this network built, but we need your support in us to go forth in this legislative session. As we will be looking for funding, we're asking for your consideration this evening to support the trauma network, and this will allow for us to have this combined effort.
Thank you. Mr. Liscano, the session will be coming this January, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken, right?
This coming January.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Liscano? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Under discussion and possible action, consider authorizing City of San Juan, Texas, supporting a grant application for financial assistance submitted under the fiscal year 2017 for assistance to firefighters grant in the amount of $12,110. This grant that was submitted by Hollis and Rutledge Associates, it's a grant that was awarded to the City of San Juan. The only thing we're asking again here is, like on the previous one, accepting the grant. This is for 8 automated external defibrillators for the City of San Juan, which there is a 10% contribution from our side. That's our match. So from the 12,110 grant, our commitment is 1,210 for 8 defibrillators. I don't know if Chief wants to say something else.
Mayor, Commissioners.
Sure.
We compiled the information for the consultants on this grant, submitted for a little bit more, of course, but we just got limited to 8, to acquire 8. After again, speaking with Mr. Arjona, we're probably going to be in the fire department utilizing 4, so it'll leave us for 4 to set up either here at the library, public safety building, City Hall. So we were awarded 8. I think I had submitted for originally 15. We got 8. Our match is only 1,210, 10%.
Can one of those AED machines be at the, or used by Parks and Rec?
Possible, yes,
For
sir. Once we get them, we can pretty much determine where we want to place them, we can put them out there. Of course, there's only 4 extra ones. So
Right, yeah.
they can
That's
be
what
utilized.
I'm
It's
hoping
no
you
problem.
would, considering the fact that they have a lot of participation in their youth sports.
Yes, sir.
Chief, can you just elaborate? I know what it means. Can you just, so the public can know what
We just-
EAD means, or
We
what it stands for?
just started step by step. I think you all have them in the school
Yeah,
district.
we
I
do
think.
have them.
We're basically going to go with something compatible to what the school district has, and, on the next item, the ambulance company.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item, consider awarding the proposal for emergency ambulance services to be provided to the city of San Juan and authorize city manager to negotiate a professional service agreement with a selected firm. Chief?
We went out for proposals for emergency contract, for emergency ambulance services. We got two proposals. I presented to you all on, earlier before the meeting on the price rates from both companies. And I think one of them it's pretty high on the rates for transport and for medication that be administered. I spoke with Mr. Arjona on this. I think, I don't know if you all might have any questions. We currently have Medicare EMS.
Which one is the one you were talking about in reference to the rates being
Hidalgo
high?
EMS.
Hidalgo?
Correct,
EMS?
yes, sir. And you can compare pretty much the prices there as far as the rates for the travel and the medication that's being administered. I pretty much oversee the operation, their monthly reports, which I provide to you all on a monthly basis. To year to date, they've been in compliance with their response times. There's been, of course, some delays, but we've pretty much squared them out. A lot of times, it's the times that we have and the times that they have, being that we're not on the same clock. But I'd be making my recommendation to you all, and I would be selecting or recommending Medicare EMS upon your approval, and any questions you might have.
Chief, how long have you been the chief of fire department?
13,
13 years?
yes, sir. Going on 14.
14? So the company that you're recommending, Medicare, they've been with the city for how long?
Since I've been on board, 8 years.
8 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Within that 8-year span, have you had any issues with them? Have you had any major or any type of complaints or that you can think of?
Not offhand, Mayor. The only thing, of course, everything that we pretty much, or events that we hold, I submitted in writing to them, and they've been in compliance in sending us the units that we require either for physical agility testing for us or PD, all the city events. It's a matter, I mean, they make it real, as far as the units being tied up there, they'll make it a priority that it's going to be a responding unit. It's not going to be tied up there for the simple reason that if they get an emergency call, it's not going to be committed. But there hasn't been an incident to where we have to actually been needing an ambulance. We stand by there and cover their area. And it's pretty much, we work hand in hand with them. So it's been working out pretty well.
Chief,
Pretty effective. Yes, sir.
they are going to have enough units available, because I think that was one of the issues that they were struggling on units.
Currently, Mayor Pro Tem, they have their station here on West 495, and I've been seeing 3 units there available. They have their 3 units. Which we only require 2, but they've been putting 3. So I monitor their daily operations also. I mean, if anything is to occur, I the phone call away or an email to the Director of Operations.
It was in response to your email regarding the.
That's correct, sir, from the previous issues or the delays.
Monitor all these ambulance when they're, let's say, all three are called out, do you
Yes,
get
sir.
somebody else?
I streamline all the calls via the radio, and also I have what we call e-dispatch through our communication for the volunteers, and I live stream all the traffic. Yes, sir.
So for the your recommendation is to go ahead and go with Medicare?
I'll be recommending Medicare EMS, sir.
So I
on
make
your
a
approval.
motion to approve Medicare as our ambulance service.
Second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Guajardo. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item, consider approval of the Economic Development Corporation 2018-19 budget. We have Mr. Rene Villarreal here with us. Should you have any questions on the budget?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner. Rene Villarreal, Executive Director, Economic Development Corporation. We have presented our budget for the year 2018-2019. It is a balanced budget. It has already been approved by our EDC board, and we're recommending approval. If there's any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there any questions, Mr. Villarreal, at this time?
If I may,
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Villarreal, under miscellaneous, you have unused promotional expense. What is that, sir?
What it is the state allows for us to budget 10% of our total budget for promotional expenses. And out of that 10%, we are using, we break it down, let me find it. We break it down into city events, mini grants, sponsorships, and that leaves us with 30,000 unused. And we're calling it unused because it's unused, so at a later time.
It's not designated.
It's
for-
not designated,
Okay,
correct.
Not that it's unused, but it's not designated for, okay,
It's,
specific.
yes.
Now, under city events, the 40,000, has it been broken down into what events, or is?
No, sir, not at this time. It hasn't been broken down to the T, but that's how much is being allocated in total at this time.
From the current budget, was there anything unused in that account?
Yes, currently unused, we have about 23,000.
Then I'm asking this because we were under the impression that EDC was going to contribute to the 4th of July event, but apparently nothing was, Mr. Arjona?
I
Is
think
there
if I
minutes
understand.
to reflect? Do you know if there's any minutes to reflect the action?
I'm not sure if there's minutes. I do understand, though, that that was something that was discussed before I came in. If it was something that was approved, then we're just waiting for an invoice from the city, and we do have promotional in there left over.
Some confusion as to whether it was approved or not, and we've been looking at, we're gonna be getting the minutes. 4th of July. I know that at one point they had a vehicle budgeted at 20,000 and we came back. It was they were gonna, the vehicle was not approved. However, the monies were split into two, whether it was
Right.
10,000 for, I can't remember what it was, but the other one was, my position has always been that it was for the 4th of July.
It was 20,000 for that vehicle that they took off. Remember they wanted a truck for 20,000 or a vehicle for 20?
Can definitely look into that, Mr. Commissioner, and if so, we'll follow through with that.
Thank you. That's all I have.
At this time, is there a motion approved?
So move.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item, discussion and action to rescind the commission action regarding the expansion of the Juan Sports Complex.
This was put by me there because I wanted to discuss this item. You know, Mr. Arguena, when I called you, you told me that, you know, that we had already taken action on this item. Or maybe I misunderstood you, but that's the way I understood it. So if we had taken action, then we could have rescinded. But since Monday when we talked, you said, no, this is in the planning stage. So we're here in discussion because this item was approved by the commission. You told me that I needed to put it in writing, that I wanted to let the people start in the mural, and to ask the commissioners to put it in writing. Why would I have to put something on writing when I have already approved it here as a commission?
One of the things that we talked about, Commissioner, is that we have been visiting with Dr. King, the mayor, myself, and the mayor said, you know what, let's put it on hold so that we can, at the end, say, is it gonna affect the mural or not? And then when you came over, say, hey, put it on it. I'm in between. I'm saying, the mayor's telling me, let's hold off on it and do the mural. But afterwards, let's see if it doesn't affect if there's gonna be any type of work, let's say redoing the facade or anything like that on the building, and if the mural is there, the last thing we want is to affect that painting or the mural. So that's why we were saying holding off on it, but not that we want to put a stop to it. So I'm getting a directive, and then I'm getting another one from you, say, you know what, send it to me in writing so that I can show that indeed there were two people telling me so that we can actually move on it. So coming back to the sports complex, yes, we talked about the sports complex, and yes, it's been approved already, the sports complex. And the mural, like you said, yes, it is there, the mural, so that's why we're discussing it that way.
If I may, Mayor Pro Tem. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Arjona. The problem that I would have is you're being given two different directives, right? But the consensus was that this was going to happen. So nobody else can give you a directive because the commission has already decided what we're going to do as a commission. So I don't understand how one or two people can tell you, hold off on it, when as a commission, we've decided, and this was decided over a year ago. That's the concern that I have. If anything should have been in writing, was the directive to hold off on it. That should have been in writing, not to continue forward. Because as a commission, we decided to move forward. Okay?
And just going back to what I was mentioning, it was just a courtesy to the school district in reference to doing the upgrades of our parks and just letting them know what the situation on that mural. Never once did we say that it was going to stop. And I was supposed to meet with Dr. King. He called me a week ago. Matter of fact, last Friday, I couldn't meet with him. I'm meeting with him this Friday. That was the deal there. And as far as I know, Mayor Pro Tem Garcia mentioned that it had been a stop for about 1.5 years. Well, I don't know what transpired 1.5 years ago. I'm talking about what transpired a week ago, not 1.5 years. So I don't know what happened 1.5 years, why that was stopped 1.5 years. Okay? I'm just talking about a week ago.
Well, Mayor, if I may, obviously, we have people here that say it's over 1.5 years. I think it's way overdue. You know, and I believe that we shouldn't stop or dismiss something that's already been approved. I don't think the rescinding of the contract, Mr. Garcia, should be we build good relationships with the good partnerships with the school district, and basically what I'm about to say is that we should proceed without further ado. If of course you contacted Mr. Dr. King at the same time and can let them continue their mural. And when the time comes that it needs to be dealt with and it needs to be revamped, maybe we'll reach out to them again and maybe fix it or whatever needs to be done. But 1.5 years is a long time to be waiting.
No, and I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
But I don't know what transpired 1.5 years ago.
Right.
Why this never got done back then.
Well, you gotta understand that a lot of times, you know, I know that Dr. Alvarez called for a meeting, and, you know.
Dr. Alvarez?
Or Dr.
Oh, you're talking.
And the meeting took place, you know, I guess the meeting was with who and who? The meeting that was scheduled with who? Just with you? That was the only person that was supposed to?
Yeah, I didn't make it. I couldn't make it. I informed Arjona, I couldn't make it.
When is that information coming to the commission as a whole?
whatever is being discussed with Dr. King, whatever changes are being planned. I mean, when is it gonna come before the entire? I don't think so Dr. King has a problem with the mural.
Well, that's all that's all we're doing. We're just finding out that he has no problem with it. I have a feeling they're gonna be able to finish the move. But it's just a common courtesy. That's all this is. And going back to your question, Commissioner, I'll tell you who's been in the meeting, myself, Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. We've had the directors in this meeting as well with Dr. King. Everything's been verbal. There has not been a set contract or an interlocal. And the reason why it hasn't been in front of the commission, because we still haven't came to a consensus, okay, this is going to be the logistics of this whole sports upgrading our parks. That is why it has not come up to the commission. But, exactly. Now, I can guarantee you this, once we finalize everything, well, guess what? It's going to come before you before I even sign any type of interlocal. You know, at the end of the day, putting this item on this agenda, I mean, to me, when people read it, the first thing they said was, why are you hurting our kids? Why are you trying to resend something, you know? I mean,
Well, you know, how will we hurting our kids if this item has not passed? And the second thing is that when I get the wrong information, that's the reason why I put it, because we could discuss it. And I checked with the attorney that I could put it and discuss it. And that's why we put it, so we could have a discussion. Because not only are you hurting kids, you're hurting kids that made an effort to do research and put this out in the public.
I agree.
And you're sending the wrong message because it hasn't gotten done. And you know, the bottom line is, I think so the consensus of the commission is to get the mayor started, and we'll deal with it after with Dr. King and PSJA, see what comes out of the planning, because it's in the planning stages, so we can discuss this when we get to Dr. King and say, hey, this is what has happened there.
and you're totally right. And guess what? Come this Friday at 1:30, I'm going to meet with Dr. King. His secretary reached out to me and told me that we need to sit down in reference to all this for the information.
We don't have to approve anything because it's already been approved a couple years back.
You
Right?
can see the consensus
Right.
of the commission,
Right.
what they're expecting.
Right.
Well, I think that we should go forward with that mirror regardless, because it's already been voted on. I agree with Commissioner Sanchez about let's go forward and let's see what the engineers, whoever's going to upgrade our parks, maybe they can work around it where they can make it look better or try to adjust themselves so we can keep that mirror there wherever it's going to be done. We just got to wait. But I think the mayor should have continued being going forward and then let PSJ, if they're going to help us.
And I think the meeting should still happen, Mayor. You know, there's no doubts about it, because if in case it's going to affect their operation, you know, you don't want them to do something and then it is going to deface the project. I think the communication should be there.
Yeah, and most of the project is being built to the Carmen site, not to this site.
You know, and the last thing, we don't know this for a fact, but what if, and this is a big if, that the district tells us, well, you know what, we're going to work with you guys, we're willing to help you out financially to upgrade your parks, but the mayor, we got to work on something on that. That's what I'm trying to avoid. That is why that meeting is transpiring this Friday. It should have been done last Friday, but I wasn't able to meet with Dr. King. I'm meeting with him this Friday at 1:30, and I'm going to address that issue with him. And I'm more than sure he's not going to have any problems with it. But I'm just, out of courtesy, because yes, we are working together. We have a great relationship with the school district, okay? Better than what it's even been in the past. That's all this is. Never once did anybody from Parks and Rec, Mr. Arjona, or myself say we're putting a stop to this. Never once did anything like that transpired. Just for the record.
And just for the record, I'm just telling you that it's not a stop, it's that the commission gave you a direction, Mr. Arjona, and I expect you to follow the direction that this commission has approved already. And if somebody gives you a different direction, you email the commission and tell them that somebody's giving a different direction when somebody has already approved. I think so that it's top priority when the commission approves something. Then we'll do the changes after that. And this is not an action item, this is just for discussion. We have had the discussion, and I've given my point.
Anything else? For the record, no action.
No action.
Next item on the consent agenda, there's a couple of items. Consider adoption of ordinance in second reading for the tax rate levy for the city of San Juan, Texas for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2019, and monthly correction report for the August of 31st, 2018.
At this time, is there anything we need to amend or modify under consent agenda? No? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next
Motion
item
carries.
under executive session, the San Juan City Commission will convene an executive session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Vernon's Texas Statute, same code, annotated Government Code Chapter 551, pursuant to Section 551.074. Personnel matters discuss the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duty, discipline, or dismissal of public officer or employee, city manager.
At this time, we're entering executive session at 7:42 PM. Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're in executive session, once again, at 7:42 PM. We're back from executive session at 9:12 PM. Is there a motion to reconvene?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, under, where are we at? Hold on. Okay. Under executive session, under the section 55.104, personal matters, discuss appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal, public officer or employee, city manager. At this time, I'd like to enter a motion to renew contract with the same term. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion dies. Okay.
So at this time, yes, I would like to motion based on the discussion that we had in executive session. I think the concerns are from the majority regarding the communication or lack thereof. So I'm going to motion that Mr. Arjona be placed on a probationary period of 3 months, and then we'll discuss again whether those items have been addressed, and we can move forward from there.
That's in a motion, sir?
Yes, sir.
So it would be a motion to put him on a probationary.
3-month probationary period.
At the,
End of the-
at the same salary terms for those 3 months?
Correct.
Okay.
That's in the motion, right? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. For the record, all those opposed? Aye. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to
Remove.
adjourn? Sorry.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned at 9:14 PM.